Well, good Wednesday evening at Northern Michigan. Thank you so much for joining us for Unscripted. And you probably know by now, Alpenfest is going on. And of course, it's the summer. So there's a lot of things. Even if you're not going to Alpenfest, you might just want to go outside to the beach, maybe. So we're going to bring in Joe Charlevoix. Joe, is it good weather for whatever outdoor activities you may be planning?
Yeah, it is. It's going to stay that way now for a couple of days, too. So some good weather coming in for summer activities here as we head into mid-July. It looks pretty nice. A little warmer on Friday, Cody, as we head into the very end of the week. And then as we get into the weekend, that's when our next chance for rain starts to increase. So we'll take a look at that. And the forecast, of course, Alpenfest is going on in Gaylord. We'll have a look at the weather for that. And the rest of Northern Michigan coming up in a few minutes.
Sure thing. Thank you, Joe. Now, for our top story tonight, reaching a crisis point. That's how the Grand Traverse County prosecuting attorney described the status of her office. In a study session with county commissioners this morning, prosecutor Noelle Muggenberg says for multiple reasons, she's unable to hire and retain attorneys. Our Allie Baxter was there for the discussion and has more.
We are starting to reach a crisis point, and this was a very hard slide for me to make because I feel like up until this year, we have been able to keep things going.
In an honest and blunt conversation with Grand Traverse County Commissioners Wednesday, prosecutor Noelle Muggenberg explained what she calls the new reality her office is facing.
The cases have become more complex. Any type of case now can involve a download of a cell phone. We're looking at pages and pages and pages of data, whether that's text messages or phone calls or surveillance. Body-worn camera is extremely valuable, but also time-consuming.
To put a number on that, the prosecutor says it's roughly an hour and a half to review all the videos. Compare that to the 10 minutes it would take to read a police report. Another thing eating up her office's time, handling Freedom of Information request, or FOIA, for the entire county.
We're still operating under a resolution from 1997, where Dennis LaBelle agreed to take that on for the county. And that is something that we could potentially give up.
Something else Muggenberg says her office would like to delegate is misdemeanor traffic cases in the Traverse City limits, something the city's attorney could handle and is also common practice in other Michigan counties.
But when I've tried to renegotiate that with the city, it becomes more of a city versus county type of issue. It's beyond what my office does and beyond what I can negotiate on my own.
Muggenberg and her 5 attorneys do the work of what should be at least 8 attorneys. Standards set by the state say no prosecutor should be handling more than 150 open felony cases at one time. Right now, the chief assistant prosecutor has 208 open felony cases.
We have literally had times in my office where we have more courtrooms running than we have attorneys able to be present in all of those courtrooms at the same time. One of our district court judges said to me a couple weeks ago, based on the numbers that we're seeing, you should be asking for another position. I said, why would I do that when I can't fill the ones that I have now?
The reason for that, Muggenberg explains, is restrictions on what she can pay someone. She says prosecuting attorneys working for the people aren't making as much as those on the defense side. Oftentimes, those attorneys are making more than double. In Grand Traverse County, Muggenberg can offer a new hire a $64,000 salary, but she can't promise law school loan forgiveness anymore for public service.
With what I can pay someone, you can't have a single person come up here and afford to live. It's almost impossible for them.
This is what Muggenberg says her office is struggling with due to workload. They can't review all cases quickly. They can't make contact with victims at charging or attend domestic violence hearings. She says they're also missing out on grant opportunities and community programs.
This is a statewide problem, but it can't just be the prosecutors coming forward saying, pay us more. It needs to be, we need to involve our local elected officials.
Thank you to Allie Baxter for that story. Another ask Muggenberg made today was to reclassify 2 of her attorneys. This would help them get paid more so she doesn't risk losing them. We're going to switch gears a little bit now, and I have some trivia for you, actually. Name a location in Michigan that sees 2 million non-local visitors a year, a third of those coming from out of state. If you guessed the Mackinac Bridge, you were right. As UpNorthLive's Mark Chalette tells us this morning at the Bridge Authority's annual meeting on Mackinac Island, The findings of 6-month-long surveys were released that showed just how much of an economic driver the bridge and the annual bridge walk are for our area.
A very detailed, lengthy report. I'm giving you some high-level information.
A big report with really big numbers. This is the culmination of a 6-month-long survey conducted by public sector consultants on the economic impact the Mighty Mac, and to a lesser extent, its annual bridge walk has.
Employment, labor income, value added, which is also GDP, output, and then we also come up with some estimates for taxes that are supported because of this spending.
Through a series of surveys, data collection, and investigation, PSC arrived at a total dollar impact, both directly and indirectly, this 5-mile span has annually.
It generated approximately $193 million in statewide output, $162 million of which stayed in the regional economy, which is the 3-county area of Mackinac, Sheboygan, and Emmett.
PSC found the bridge being here and folks traveling to cross it supported more than 1,400 local jobs, generated $72 million in labor income. While the impact of that spending is felt locally, much of the money doesn't originate here.
So this analysis focuses on those visitors who traveled more than 50 miles. They crossed the bridge and they stayed in either Mackinac City or St. Ignace for 45 minutes or longer.
Non-local visitors flock to drive over the bridge, and on Labor Day, they do the same to walk across it.
Overall, they contributed nearly $3 million in statewide output. $2.4 million of that output was concentrated in the 3-county region.
If you're big on return on investment, the money you get back after putting money in, PSC says this event pays off by a 10-to-1 ratio.
For every $1 invested by the Mackinac Bridge Authority to put this event on, there was an additional $10.83 generated in the Tri-County area.
All in all, the data suggests the bridge is an economic driver, statewide and even more so close to home. Dollars generated by a crossing, by car, or for that one day, by foot, boost bottom lines.
And nearly 2/3 of those businesses surveyed said that the bridge walk had a positive impact on their business.
That was our Mark Gillette reporting. As for the upcoming Labor Day Bridge Walk, organizers presented their plans at this morning's meeting. There are no major changes this year. They say many of the policies and procedures put in place last year were successful, so they will be keeping those in place. They did say they will be adding additional time-stamped turnaround signage on the bridges so that walkers know where and when they should make a U-turn if they aren't walking all the way across. And this does bring us to our question of the day, which is, are you planning to walk across the Mackinac Bridge this Labor Day? And the current voting stands at 9% on yes, 91% on no. There is still time to vote. You can vote with the QR code on your screen, or you can vote on our Facebook and X pages, or on our website, UpNorthLive.com. We'll come back and check at the question of the day and the voting results a little later on in the show. Now, the Gaylord Alpenfest continued today in Otsego County. It was Kids Day. The lineup featured several activities such as Alpenfest attire contest, hula hooping, a pizza eating contest, and so much more. The night will wrap up with Insiders, a tribute to Tom Petty. So if you're a Tom Petty fan, you can look out for that one. They will take the main stage at 8 p.m. And if you didn't get a chance to attend the festival today, we have more information on tomorrow's lineup posted on our website, UpNorthLive.com. A historic tugboat is making a big difference for cadets at the Great Lakes Maritime Academy in Traverse City. The Robinson Bay was donated by the U.S. Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation. This is the first vessel the Academy has acquired in more than 20 years. The purpose of the new vessel was to create more job opportunities and save money on leasing costs for the Academy. The cadets will begin training this week aboard the donated tugboat.
They're happy to have it, and especially because now that it's ours, any work we do on the vessel, whether it's painting and upkeep, there's more of a sense of pride because it's ours.
By the end of the summer, up to 36 cadets will have completed the 30-day training program, earning their mate of tow vessel license endorsement. All right, a New Jersey homeowner had to get hands-on when a panicked deer that broke into his house refused to leave. And the whole crazy thing was caught on camera. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
What do you do when a large deer is trapped inside your house and can't get out? For one New Jersey homeowner, the answer was clear. Grab it by the antlers and steer that deer away from here. WPVI reports Brian Carnes woke up to a ruckus he thought was a burglar breaking into his Medford home.
I thought that somebody threw a brick through my window and now they came in.
What he found instead was a confused and clattering buck stuck in his living room.
He gets up and he starts to run around. And when I look at him, I'm just confused. I have no idea. All I've heard so far is glass, and he's in the house.
Carnes says not knowing what to do, he drew on his own experience of handling his pet goat. He took the bull by the horns, grabbed that deer by its antlers, dragging it outside where it was able to flee to flailing freedom. And for this rudely awakened resident, as they say, the buck stopped here. Another deer caught in a tricky spot received some much-needed assistance, this time by professionals trained not in animal control, but in water rescues. Lifeguards sprang into action, springing into the waters off Flagler Beach, Florida, when the deer was spotted struggling to stay afloat in the surf.
I've never even heard of a deer going in the ocean.
For real, though. And if one waiting wild animal wasn't enough, the lifeguards told Wesh during the rescue op, they spotted sharks circling the scene.
I saw 2 of those big fins come out of the water, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Thankfully, everyone made it back to shore in one piece, and the lifeguards later said even with unexpected wild animals, quick and decisive action is all in a day's work.
It's my job. It's what I need to do, so I'll do it for anybody.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Could you imagine hearing a crashing in the middle of the night, which is already a bad sign, and then it's just a deer looking back at you? Fortunately, he seemed to know how to handle the situation with the goat. He has the experience with the antlers, so it's a funny story. We're going to take the first break of our show when we get back. As we were talking about a little bit earlier, it's summertime. You may be looking to go outside over the next few days. Joe Charlevoix will let you know if it's a good time to do so, maybe this next couple days and over the weekend when we get back. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back to Unscripted. We're halfway through the week on this Wednesday. So, Joe, what do things look like weather-wise going into our next couple of days as we finish out this work week?
Yeah, pretty good. I look at the folks there in Gaylord right now.
Looks beautiful.
It is. Nice day.
Great
By
day.
the way, you're from North Carolina.
Yep.
Did you have any festivals that like a favorite that you went to?
You know, we weren't
growing up?
very festival heavy. We
Okay.
had the state fair, which was fun, but
Okay.
all of these festivals, I will say, have been a real treat because in North Carolina, not really a lot of them. Up here, there's so many fun festivals like this one.
Where did they have the state fair? Was it like
They had it near Raleigh, which is where I was from.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
it was right down the road. So that was our big thing. We had a couple like little stand-up things, but nothing the size of this or Cherry Fest or anything like that.
Yeah, mine was up in the UP, the Dickinson County Fair. It was near where I grew up. It's on Labor Day weekend. It was just good memories.
Fun, yeah.
Well, I'm sure some folks are making some right there tonight. 75 degrees there in Gaylord, and the sun is out, a northwest breeze. And yeah, it's packed, busy. Why not? Good weather. We'll take a look at the forecast there. Tomorrow, look at that. Mostly sunny and 80 degrees. Kind of a picture-perfect day there in Gaylord. Friday, a little warmer, mid-80s, 84 is what we'll go with, partly cloudy. Now, Saturday, I think, the parade, I think, is at 11 or 12 on Saturday for the Alpenfest parade on Saturday. I think the parade should be okay. I think any rain should hold off until later in the day. So 83 is the temperature that we're going to go with there. As far as the rest of northern Michigan, our three big things, yeah, we just mentioned dry now through early Saturday. Lots of sunshine, too, to go along with that. Rain does look likely, though, later Saturday, especially Saturday late afternoon to Saturday night. So the middle of the weekend, especially late Saturday night could be wet. And then warmer early next week, we're back into the 80s. Looks like widespread 80s next Monday and Tuesday. We have a little disturbance passing through the southern part of the state tonight. You can see that little area of low pressure down near Flint that did kick off some showers and thunderstorms earlier today, but we kind of avoided them in our area. This system is a little bit south. We reached peak heating, and that's when some of these storms developed right there, north of Detroit, in the Thumb area. In fact, north of Port Huron, up in the Thumb, we actually did have earlier a tornado warning, but that is long done with now. And here's what's all that happened in our region. We did have a couple showers there south of Alpena and Talcona, Aranac counties, but those are just about done with now. And we're not going to see any more rain for a while. So Stormcast looks like this. Dry tonight. We'll stop this 10:30 tomorrow morning. Beautiful day, not much wind, just a little hint of a north breeze. Sunny skies, nice day. And then Friday, pretty much the same thing. You might look down south of Cadillac and think, oh, look, a lot of rain. Not really. There might be a shower down there. I'm not too certain on that, though. So I would go with a pretty quiet day on Friday. But as we get into the weekend, Saturday, and we mentioned this, the key thing, you look at that and you see thunder and lightning coming down there, it'll be later in the day. So mainly afternoon rain and storms arriving. Temperatures on Saturday, upper 70s to mid 80s. And then Sunday, a couple lingering showers. And temperatures are actually pretty similar, 78 to 85 on Sunday. All right, here's our extended forecast. And this is kind of what we're shaping up as. The nice weather Thursday, same thing Friday. That chance for rain coming in on Saturday. Now, Sunday looks okay. There might be a couple lingering showers behind that system from Saturday night. And then Monday and Tuesday, 80s, sunny skies. Right now, I know it's a week away, but it looks like another front will come in then toward the middle of next week, maybe bringing in some additional storms. So rain chances late Saturday night, and then again as we head toward next Wednesday, which again is about a week from now, Cody. So yeah, pretty typical July weather coming up here, but it does look good, for Alpenfest and everything else. Just a heads up on that rain as we get into the middle of the weekend.
Sure thing. Joe, thank you very much for that. Glad to see that things look okay for Alpenfest. So now, also a big summer thing, baseball. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk to sports director Harrison Beebe about how the Tigers look to keep on winning and the Pittsburghers look to do a bit of the opposite going into their games today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Unscripted. A little earlier in the show, Joe and I were talking about how in the summer you have fun festivals. You also have some baseball. So we're going to bring in our sports director, Harrison Beebe. Harrison, Pittsburghers, I know, in action tonight.
That is correct, Cody. I am parked at Turtle Creek Stadium. People are getting used to seeing me report in the news van this week, That's for sure. That's what happens, though, when we time this out right between the 6 o'clock news and the 7 o'clock first pitch here at Turtle Creek Stadium. But, yeah, the Pittsburghers, they've had 4 games this weekend, this being the 4th tonight. They've gone 0-3 so far, and this is a team that won the first half division title a week ago, but the Kenosha Kingfish, something about the Kingfish has just have the Pittsburghers number, and that's been the case the last 3 games. See if they can kind of offset that tonight here in the final game, because then it's on for 4 straight, and then the All-Star break, they're not going to be back here for another home game until the end of next week. So a bit of a gap between Turtle Creek Stadium games after tonight. I talked to head coach Todd Reed earlier today about the All-Star break, about the first half division title, covered a variety of topics that'll air in full next week in a special interview we did with him. But he touched on the fact that, it's great that we won the division title. It's great to win games, but our top priority, as it is every season with the Northwoods League and Summer Collegiate League baseball, is to just get these kids better. They play college baseball during the school year, and that's kind of their primary focus. This is kind of their secondary team. So they're up here. Their goal is to get better, pick up some intangibles that keep them improving, and hopefully maybe one day, as we've seen, get to the major leagues. We've seen several major league pitchers. Spencer Schwellenbach several years back was a stud player here for the Pittsburghers, and he's been a very impressive pitcher for the Atlanta Braves this year. Suffered an injury recently, but I believe he was on track to pitch in the All-Star game, so that is unfortunate. But we've seen guys play here at Turtle Creek Stadium in years past that have gone on to get to the major leagues and be successful at the major leagues. So that's kind of the benefit of starting your summers in college up here.
Yeah, sure thing. And speaking of Major League, the Tigers also in action tonight.
Yeah, I haven't. Maybe you've seen the score more than me. Last I saw it was 3-2 in the 5th inning. That was about 20 minutes ago. So that score might have changed by now. The Tigers and Rays playing right now. Was supposed to be an afternoon game, but in Detroit they had some bad weather coming there earlier today. They wanted to kind of avoid that, so they bumped it a little later. A strange 5 p.m. series finale pitch. But those who are playing right now, and last I'd heard, Tigers had jumped ahead after being down 2-0. They were ahead 3-2. Cody, fun fact, they have not swept teams back-to-back before this year. They've had a lot of sweeps this year, but never in back-to-back series. So this would be a cool thing if they could pull it off against the Rays, and then they have one more series at home with Seattle until they go on their All-Star break as well.
Yeah, sure thing. We'll be intently watching that one tonight. Thank you for joining us, Harrison. Enjoy the Pittsburghers game. We'll see more from that tonight. We're going to take our final break of the show. When we get back, we will take a look at our question of the day. You still have time to vote if you haven't already. You can do it on our website, UpNorthLive.com, or our Facebook and X pages. We'll take one last look at the results, and then we'll let you go. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Welcome back to Unscripted. We're taking one last look at our question of the day. It has to do with Mackinac Bridge. We talked a little earlier about how the Mackinac Bridge is a location in Michigan that sees 2 million non-local visitors a year, a third of those coming from out of state. And a big event, of course, for the Mackinac Bridge is walking the bridge. And our question of the day, are you planning to walk across the Mackinac Bridge this Labor Day? 9% of people said yes, and 91% of people said no. So staying about where we saw it earlier on in the show. Teresa commented on our Facebook and said, no, I don't do anything involving crowds of people. More pleasant at home. That's fair, Teresa. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for voting if you did. And thank you for watching Unscripted. Have a great night, Northern Michigan.